You are listening to United Way's Community Talk. I'm Jenna Gullo, the Executive Director of the Missouri Slope Area-Wide United Way, wanting to golf with you. The American Family Golf Classic. I don't know how many years these folks have been doing it, but Terry Kraft and his crew and all of the American Family insurance agents help us to put this on every year, and it's huge, it's fun, it's great. It's June 22nd, so get your team together. It's actually a lot of fun. So June 22nd, call us at the United Way office to sign up. And then we also have our Women United baby shower coming up June 21st. So we're collecting baby items. What we do is every year we have this community-wide baby shower. We put the items together in baby baskets, give them to new moms, particularly at-risk moms in the community. So Surprise Church is helping us to collect those, and you can drop them off at any Mercy Box around town that you see this month, or you can drop them off at our office. Co-hosting with me today is Nicole Peske, the Community Impact Manager at United
Such a
Way.
build-up you do on that.
It is. It's like you're a special guest, even though you're here once a month. But
still. I'm so excited about the show today. This is an issue that is so near and dear to both of our hearts.
Well, why don't you introduce our first guest?
Oh, we're super excited to have with us Kim. So she's the Burleigh County Social Services Agency Director. Thank you so much for being here, Kim.
Thanks for having me.
Okay, so you realize why we haven't even announced your last name, right? We are so afraid of mutilating it.
I know. It's
Ozachuk.
What is it?
Ozachuk.
Ozachuk.
Just as it's spelled.
You know, our guests today in general have difficult names.
Spelled. You're right. Okay, well, it's good to know from now on. What were you saying?
I'm sure we'll never make that mistake again.
Oh, we will.
I said our guests today in general have sort of difficult last names to pronounce. So,
Miller?
You picked the one that was easy.
All right. So, Kim, I just have to say, I know you're not really new to the job anymore, but how long have you been?
Almost 4 years.
It has been 4 years already?
Wow.
You've really been doing a tremendous job. You've implemented a number of changes within the department, and it's shown through in the way your case managers do their work. And as a foster parent, I just have to say thank you. I can't imagine being in your position day in and day out. And everything that you see, you hear, and then you have to be proactive and try to combat. So thank you.
Thank you.
You're just awesome. So talk to us about foster care in Burleigh County.
Well, we have had a definite rise in our cases, and we
Since
have.
when?
It's been the past year. They've been increasing. So we have over 100 foster kids just in Burleigh County.
Wow.
That are in foster care.
And it takes a lot for a kid to be removed from their home.
That is correct. We try to do everything we can to keep children with their families. Foster care is the last resort.
Yeah.
That we try. So
that is crazy. So you have 100 kids, and you were saying that Mandan has a number of kids as well. Morton, I'm sorry.
Morton County, when I spoke to their director yesterday, said he had over 50 foster kids.
Whiz.
So 150 children plus, because I think our numbers might be 110, just in Burleigh, Morton area.
That's so hard to imagine. And do you have enough foster homes to take these kids in?
No. We don't. We're always recruiting and trying to get more foster homes. So we're really trying to push to get more emergency homes that will maybe take these kids for 3 weeks until we can find something long term. Maybe they transition back home with mom or dad, or find other appropriate family members to take them. Find something for them long term.
And you really vet other family members. I've had kids that we thought maybe it'd be a couple days, but then it ended up being weeks, and then it ended up those family members weren't appropriate placements, or, weren't safe homes. And so it can sometimes be really challenging for your caseworkers.
It can be very challenging. A lot of times we look out of state for family members too.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, and you hope that the kids have a connection with a family member, but at the same time, you're really looking for a safe home for that child.
A safe home in the middle of the night for this child or children. We've had a lot of large sibling groups to go to, and they don't know why they're having to leave. So that's very scary for them, very heartbreaking for everybody involved, and they don't know what to think.
I think that's the worst part, is when kids come into my home, and sometimes it's the middle of the night, and they're just scared. I think about, as an adult, how I would feel sleeping in a stranger's home.
Right.
And
Mom,
how
no dad.
challenging that is as an adult. I remember for my last job, I used to travel around the states, and I would sometimes have to stay at donors' homes that I had not met yet. And it was weird. I mean, it was awkward, uncomfortable. You weren't really sure what to expect. And then you think about being torn away from your family as a child.
Well, now at a sibling group and you have 3 or 4 children and a foster home will only take one, and then you got to split them up, and then they can't even be with their siblings. And so we try everything possible to keep them all together, but sometimes it is not possible. So
Right.
that's
So
a
you
challenge.
talked about emergency care. That's a big need. What other sort of special situations do you have?
Respite care. So when the foster parents need to go out of town or whatever, we need to place them with other licensed foster homes. And so we'd like to have them with someone more familiar with them. And so we have a need for that as well.
And then people that will take sibling groups?
People that'll take sibling groups, teenagers. Teenagers are hard, because not everyone wants to take teenagers because they may have some acting out behaviors, but they've experienced trauma in their life, and that's hard.
I'll be honest. So I'm registered to do 0 to 18 years of age. I normally get teenagers because most people, for what, don't take them. And I've never once had an issue. I'll be honest. I mean, there's been some pretty serious situations too, for that child. And they're all good kids in really rotten situations.
They want a family. They want stability. They want structure. They want some place to call home. And that's what they're lacking.
Yep. Yeah. So what's the process when how does a child get into foster care? What needs to happen?
Well, if it is determined that the living environment or their families are not able to care for them, it's not safe, then they would come into foster care. Could be during the day, in the middle of the night, something on those. But someone will determine that they are unsafe and they can't stay with their parents or whoever they're residing with.
So, Kim, I have a situation. It occurred, I don't know, a few months back, but it was a school principal discovered that a child that was acting out and in their principal's office because they did not have a stable home. They were kicked out of a homeless program and they had nowhere to go. Is that a situation where a child would be placed into foster care?
Not necessarily. We wouldn't do that. I mean, we want to try to help the family, and so we provide a lot of in-home services or parent aid services to do that case management around the family to help get them the services they need so they can provide for their kids. They don't want to be ripped apart from their children.
So what if, for a night or two, a parent is living in their car with their kids?
A lot of times we might give them, we can look at additional funds to put them up in a hotel room or find some.
Try to find some
something.
service for those nights. But
For
that's
them
not
to
really
stay.
a condition because that parent is really trying to take care
Correct.
of their kids. Interesting. So then when that child does come in, what do you have an average length of stay? Do you measure anything like that?
You know, I do not have that. I think the Department of Human Services would have that data on how long a child stays into care. I'm not able to pull that data.
Yeah, and I would presume, I mean, just looking at the kids I've had, every child's situation is so different.
Right.
Very different.
So before we wrap up here, what are just some of the things you want our listeners to know?
If you have the ability to open your home and provide care and be a parent to these children while they need someone, while their parent is not able to, please call us. Even if it's for every weekend or every other weekend or once a month, or an emergency care, something, or if you wanted to do it more long term. We will work with you on that.
And, you know, for emergency and respite, you can say no. I was called last week. I was out of state, and I said, I'm so sorry, I'm not in town. But the week prior, I had a child with me, and it's just to be able to fill some of those gaps sometimes, and respite is a really easy way to do that to help foster parents that have kids full-time.
That's correct.
Thank you so much, Kim Azacek, the Burleigh County Social Services Agency Director. We are going to be coming back in just a couple minutes with Mary Zeman. She is a foster parent and also works at Herberger's. We love Herberger's.
Right now, 55.
The Red River Farm Network. Ag News is here on Super Talk 1270.
Welcome back. I'm Jenna Gullo, the Executive Director of the Missouri Slope Area-Wide United Way. Thanks for tuning in today. We have a really good show on foster care, but before we get started on that, we want to remind you that it's Lemonade Day, June 17th, and the Chamber of Commerce did ask me to be a champion of Lemonade Day, along with John Bollinger of the Bismarck Larks. So you're going to be seeing our faces on some advertisements for that and hearing our voices. But we want your kids getting in line to sign up and have their lemonade stand. It's actually really cool. We do a business plan with them. They learn so much about marketing, businesses, projections, budgeting. It's going to be June 17th. So go onto the Chamber website for that. And then we have our Day of Action coming up June 21st. It's Women United. We do a community baby shower. And so you can donate your baby items around town at the Mercy boxes that Surprise Church has around town. Or you can drop them off at our office. We're at 515 North 4th Street. And one last note, we want you to save the date, August 16th. We have our Day of Caring.
That's right. I love Dave Caring.
Yes, co-hosting with me is the woman in charge of Day of Caring, our community impact manager, the Nicole Peske.
My goodness. Day of Caring, August 16th. So it is just the most fun day. The energy on that one day with all those volunteers. Last year we had over 1,000 volunteers that helped at nearly 50 different nonprofits, parks, and schools in our community.
And this year, Nicole's going to recruit 2,000.
This year, our goal is to... You heard it here. Great. Now I won't sleep tonight.
No, seriously, that is how we got to 1,000. I set this obnoxious goal. We were at about 487. I said, okay, let's get to 1,000 next year. And everyone looked at me with these
big
glazed looks over their eyes. And we didn't get there that year. We got to 800 and some, but then the next year we got over 1,000. It's just awesome. Wow. So 2,000, you hear it.
Wow. And you know, it's only because we have more and more groups every year getting involved with it. So it's because of groups like Herberger's. We have our friend.
We love Mike Lund. If you don't know Mike Lund, he is in charge of Herberger's. He runs the best operation. It's always so clean and tidy. And they have great sales.
The best deals.
They have great deals at Herberger's. They have professional clothing, activewear, right. You name it, purses galore. Right. They've always been huge supporters of United Way. And Mike has also sat on the Abused Adult Resource Center's board of directors for decades.
I know, they're generous.
I'm pretty sure he helped start it. I mean, he's been on there for that long.
Wow.
Okay, you're not that old, Mike. But representing Herberger's today is Mary Zeman. You're the HR manager there. I don't know your exact title.
I'm the HR rep. So
we'll call you director. You're the HR director. Mike gave you a new title. Okay. He just texted me.
Okay. That'll work.
But Mary, it's so cool because you've been a Day of Caring captain in the past.
I have. I was last year at the United Way
office.
Offices, yeah.
And no one got stung by bees, which was pretty cool.
And our grass is growing and our plants are thriving.
Thanks, Mary.
Not a problem. You had the team of Marys there that day.
I know. Thank you for your
rock
help.
Stars.
And so you've also been a foster parent for years. Thank you
I have.
so much for your service. It is really awesome when I get to meet other foster parents in the community. How long have you been doing it?
I have been a foster parent for 4 years, and I've had a total of 7 children in my house.
Wow. So how long have you typically had kids for?
Well, up to 2 years, and then they moved my license from 1 child to 2. And then so right now I have 2. I have a 7-year-old and a 15-month-old.
Oh, my.
Wow.
How do you do that in work?
A good support group. It's a good support system. Mike has been phenomenal at just supporting me with foster care at Herberger's. So that was one of the reasons I actually had left Herberger's for a while, but I went back because I just knew I'd have that support from my coworkers and everybody else there. And then just family support of other foster parents. We do once a month during the school year, we do a meeting the first Tuesday of every month at Good Shepherd Church. We have a meeting for all foster parents in Region 7.
I should try going to one of those some year.
Maybe, yeah.
I think I spoke at that group one
Yes, you
time.
did.
Yes, I did.
Yes, you did. And so it's just a good network that we get to learn so much about it, about different foster parents and what we're all going through and what the challenges are for each other almost, and just things that we learn from each other. I mean, there's been things every week. It's kind of like a takeaway, and you're like, "Oh, well, I didn't know that."
So you kind of help problem solve.
Yes,
like
we
issues
help
you're
problem
dealing
solve
with.
each other, or even that, I didn't know when I started that you even get a stipend. Not that it's a lot, but you get, you get a little bit of money.
I didn't
to
know
help
that
with the
either.
Kids,
Yeah.
And then I learned there that I can deduct the kids out of my taxes. So I didn't know
Oh.
that either. If they're with you for 6 months and 1 day, you get to deduct them on your taxes.
Well,
So,
no
I said-
kidding.
I had no
so,
idea.
yeah, so I mean, there's just a lot of different things that you learn from each other as you go there. In fact, I don't think most of the social workers knew that one, because when I've told them now, they're like, "What? I have to tell the other foster parents that." So we do. We have a good networking system. We try to get out there and support each other, whether it's through, if you have sibling groups together or whatever. You kind of get to know each other and you can do things out in the community together.
So help people who are at home or in their cars and they're contemplating, gosh, that's something I've always thought about. I've never really pulled the trigger. Why should they pull the trigger and just sign up?
I think if you've always had that feeling, I know I had that feeling for many years before I ever signed up.
I had it my whole life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so it's just one of those things that it's never a good time. As somebody put it to
Exactly.
me.
You were so right with
It's
that.
never a good time. I mean, if you're thinking about it, I would just say do it, whether it's respite or whether it's just temporary, just to help us out. I mean, any type of little bit emergency care, anything helps. I mean, there's times where as a foster parent, you just need that one night when you've had them for 3 months just to go out and do something on your own or spend some time by yourself, because you just need that recharge too as parents. And they're special kids. I mean, often I think that we think of it, it's like, oh, they're all going to be troubled youth. They aren't. They aren't troubled youth. A lot of times they just haven't been given the opportunities that other kids have been.
That is so true. So talk to us about some of those challenges.
Some of the challenges are, I guess, what I have sometimes in my home are the challenges of the developmental years. I'm licensed for 0 to 8, and when I get those young kids or when they come into my care at 5, some of the stuff they haven't been taught that, we would change or teach most kids at the age of 1 or 2. They don't get that when they're coming to your care at 5. And so you're almost having to backtrack and reteach that. And oftentimes you can get frustrated with it. I mean, it's not an easy job because you are technically then parenting a child of somebody else's, and they just don't know. You look at it and it's where you have to take a step back and go, oh, they haven't been taught that. So then you do a learning experience from it. Sometimes they're receptive, sometimes they're not, but you just have to keep instilling with them that you are a family now, and this is what a family looks like, and this is what a family does. Yeah. And it's just this stability for a lot of them. A lot of them have been going in and out of foster care, or they've been to several foster homes, because, sometimes there just isn't a right fit between the child and the foster parent. So it's going back and just really making sure that they are safe, assuring them that they are safe, that you love them, and that you are going to look out for their best interests. As a foster parent, I guess I always feel like I'm the advocate for the child. along with the social workers, because we are with the child daily.
Right.
You know, the social workers might get to see them once or twice a month, but we are with them daily. So we are their outlook.
What's something that you've been doing this for 4 years? What's something that you wish you would have known on day one that you've learned since then?
Don't give them everything that they want. I think that's everybody is. I always tell, I still have contact with my first foster child, and I'm like, thank you. You taught me a lot. You're like my first child that I had that every parent screws up on, and so I've learned from that. And you know, as they keep coming in, I'm like, nope, you can't. I'm not going to get you that. You know, you have to help out and earn it.
It's so funny because I feel badly sometimes, because sometimes my friends will be like, oh, let's take him to Space Aliens. Let's take him here. Let's buy this. Let's buy that. And I don't want to ruin these kids for the long-term foster home.
Right. Yep.
I mean, you can't just do everything that you wish you could.
Right.
Or want to all the time. Yeah. You have to have those boundaries.
And I guess I've always went with the kids after that first one. I've went where they have to earn the fun stuff. So if they want to go out for supper, they have to help, and they have to have a positive attitude and really earn them, like my own child would. Have to earn those special moments where we go to the movie or we go out and that type of stuff. And it can be as easily taken away as what it is given. So.
Yep. That is so true. No, but and it's sometimes difficult to set those parameters, but you do literally want to treat them like your own children.
Well, exactly.
That's the whole point.
Yep.
And you want them to know that regardless of how they behave or misbehave or behave well, that you're going to be there.
Yep.
You're not going anywhere.
And even, the younger ages they're always afraid that you're going to leave them. So it's just that reassurance that you are coming back, and the excitement that you see in their eyes when you do come back to get them from daycare. It's like, oh, she's here.
Yeah, Mary Zeman, the HR rep at Herberger's, a foster parent for 4 years. Thank you so much for all that you've done. We're going to be back with Kevin Miller from West Central Human Services and also Nick Cimarasti. Well, we're going to see if I mutilated that one, from Path. We'll be back in just a couple minutes, learn more about how you can sign up. Today's the day for foster care.
Currently 57 degrees.
Dave Ramsey is heard here. Super Talk 1270.
Welcome back. It's United Way's Community Talk. I'm Jenna Gullo, the Executive Director of the Missouri Slope Area-wide United Way, co-hosting with me this fine, cloudy, almost afternoon, making it sunshiny and brilliant in the studio, Nicole Peske.
I am speechless, Jenna.
I don't know. I think the caffeine's getting to me. Something's happening.
That's right. Too much caffeine, not enough food. Yeah.
No, we just had a really good show. Thanks for putting this together, Nicole. You've been our marketing manager, but you were promoted to our community impact manager, which is just an awesome responsibility. And so thank you for doing this. We've had some really good guests. We were talking with Kim Ozichuk, who is the Burleigh County Senior or Social Services Agency Director. And then we had Mary Zeman, she's a foster parent. And now we have... I am so excited because Kevin Miller used to call me in the middle of the night, no, it wasn't all the time, but to take in kids. And you just had... I just can't even imagine your job when you were with Burleigh County Social Services directly. Kevin Miller, you're now with West Central Human Services. You are, congratulations, the Assistant Regional Supervisor. That's just awesome.
Yeah, thank you.
So what does that mean?
All right, so what that entails is we oversee the 11 counties in the region for foster care and child protection. Currently, in the region, we have 216 kids in foster care. I just ran those numbers this morning. So a lot of kids in foster care and a big need for foster homes. Of those 216 kids, they're spread out between 141 foster homes within the area. And then some of those are also in group homes or residential treatment centers, but a huge need for foster homes.
And so those 141 homes, does that include my home, even though I don't have a kid right now?
Yes, that includes your home. And there's some other homes that don't have kids because it's not the right match for the foster parents.
Sure.
Or the needs of the foster child exceed the county foster homes capabilities.
Yep, that makes sense. And I was just out of state last week, which is why I don't have a child, because they did call me while I was out of state. And I did have a child the week before, so it's not because you don't have a need for new homes.
Right, that's correct.
And then we have Nick Cimarosti.
Yes.
Cimarosti.
Yep.
Cimarosti. I like that name, Nick. Nick,
Cimarosti.
you are the treatment foster care manager at PATH. Thanks for being with us, Nick. I just
Thanks
met
for having
you.
me.
You've
Thank
been
you
at
very
PATH
much.
for 3 years, huh?
I have.
So what does it mean? What do you do as the treatment foster care manager at PATH?
Well, I'm not the only manager. There are about 4 of us that do the same job. So a big part of my responsibility at work is to case manage for kids in foster care. I make sure their needs are being met in the community. I work with the foster parents and make sure if they have needs that we're working to meet those too. And then also we look for foster parents too.
Mm-hmm.
We recruit for parents in the community, so that's a big part of our job as well.
So,
As Kevin just talked about, there's a big need, so we're constantly looking for new parents and recruiting for new homes.
so let's talk a little bit about foster, becoming a foster parent. What does that process look like for people that might be interested?
A complex one sometimes. There's a lot to it, but I think the really important part is for people who want to help to just get it started. So the first is that you want to be part of the system. You want to help out. Aside from that, there's a licensing process that all people go through. It includes a little bit of paperwork. I say that in sarcasm. There's some paperwork that's with it. Some training.
Background checks.
Criminal checks, abuse and neglect checks. And I'd say the biggest part of it is working with somebody like me to get to know you, your family, how you work, how you operate under stress, what's going to work well for you in your home, what kind of kids you're interested in working with, maybe certain behaviors that would be a struggle for you, and stuff like that.
Well, I mean, the thing is, you really want to vet potential foster homes because we're talking about real lives that they're caring for. It's not something that you don't want someone to start going through the process and then, quit and then not be reliable or maybe not be a good, stable home for those kids. And it's not, I didn't think the process was really that hard. I get recertified every year. The biggest thing that irks me is that I have to get my furnace looked at like every 2 years. I have to have someone come in. Yeah. So I mean, there's a little bit of expense, but it's really not a huge burden, right?
Right. I mean, Nick, he talks about the paperwork process, but it's not that much.
No.
It's fairly simple, to get that done. Then along with that, we also, have you provide some reference letters for us.
Right.
And then like Nick alluded to, we have the background checks that we do. So we really want to vet the potential foster parents.
Yeah, absolutely. So, Kevin, you said you're in charge of overseeing 11 different counties. What's it look like when you look at Burley-Morton versus the need in some of the rural counties?
The need is the same, whether it's Burley and Morton County, obviously, or the surrounding counties. Obviously, there's a lot of kids in care from the Bismarck-Mandan area because that's where the population base is primarily. I think Kim referenced there was approximately 150 kids from the Bismarck-Mandan area in foster care, so that leaves about 60 from the outlying counties, which, based on population, ratios is about correct. So, and they come into care for various reasons. Kids come into care from anything from the parents got sick and they're in the hospital for the weekend to the extreme case where you've got a sexually abused child that we had to remove from the home. So,
yeah.
Big gamut of reasons why kids come into care.
What do you do? I mean, I always think about you're the first point of contact, if not the police, right, with some of these kids. And are you, when in your prior position, were you the one that had to tell the kids that they couldn't go back home that night?
Usually,
It's horrible.
Child welfare worker, whether that's or the on-call worker, whether that's the child protection worker or the foster care worker, who's ever on call for that period of time, or the intake worker. But yeah, that's difficult where you have to tell a child that you're not going to be going home tonight, or you're going to be staying somewhere else. Now, obviously, we always look for relatives. If we have to remove a child from a home, we're always looking to see if there's any relatives that are willing and able to take the child before we look at placing the kid into foster care. And then along with that, it's not up to the social worker or the child protection worker to do the removal. You have to get a court order to do so. It's not just based on their decision.
Mm-hmm.
They got to review it with the courts. They don't have the authority by themselves to remove a child from the home. And I think that's a big misconception because people watch TV and everything, and so people think that social workers have that authority. No, they have the authority that's granted to them through the court process.
Yeah. So in the middle of the night, the police contact you typically, right? And then you have to contact a judge?
We usually contact the juvenile court, someone from juvenile court, whether that's the juvenile court supervisor or one of the juvenile court officers.
Gotcha.
And then get a verbal order to remove the child.
Yeah. So, what are some of the things you're looking for people interested in foster care?
Well, the ideal candidate for a foster home would obviously be open-minded because these kids come into foster care with various issues. Like I said, we have the gamut of why they come into foster care. Want the foster parents to be loving and provide a loving and nurturing environment for the kids. And we just want them to be able to deal with challenges, because if you're dealing with teenagers, obviously they can be challenging at times. I mean, I've got a 12-year-old, soon-to-be 13-year-old daughter at home, and she's certainly challenging at times. So you just got to be flexible.
So, Nick, what are the differences between PATH and registering as a foster care or as a foster parent with Burleigh County?
I can't speak to some of that. I don't know some of the county requirements and what happens within the county. One of the biggest things that I can speak to, though, is the kind of referrals that you get between county and PATH. I'd say the biggest difference is a lot of people come into foster care looking to provide care for infants, for really young kids. PATH doesn't get that very often. If you're looking to provide care for younger kids, it's going to be a county that you want to be licensed with.
And PATH doesn't do emergency care either, right?
We don't do emergency care. All the kids that come into PATH care, we know a lot about. Yeah.
And they also have to have a diagnosis, right?
That's correct. Yep. All the kids that come into PATH care have a mental health diagnosis of some kind.
Yeah. So, two amazing choices, two amazing guys sitting here doing great work. How can they get in touch with you?
All right. So we've got a couple of ways that they can do that. All right, the first way is we got a 1-800 number, which is 1-800-245-3736. And then also can go look us up on the website, which is ndfosterparent.com.
Just awesome. Thanks so much, Nick and Kevin. Thank you to our guests, and thank you to you listening out there who are going to be picking up the phone or looking into becoming a foster parent. Even for respite, emergency care, it's really not a huge commitment. But open your home to someone in need. Join us at the United Way Golf Tournament, June 22nd. Log on online and save the date, August 16th, Day of Caring. Have a great day, everyone.